Well, hey again, everybody. I'm just here to bring you a little story of some things that have been going on recently. A lot of the updates up to this point have been about our preparation, our fundraising, some of our travels and family stuff, and so on and so forth. I'm going to start shifting now into stories of what's happening, what's going on, how our ministry is taking place. So I'm excited to get to share with you one. This just happened the other day. And I moved it to the top of the list because it really hit me hard, as well as the person I'm going to share about. But I also think it'll really encourage you because you're the ones investing in me to make this kind of a conversation possible. So as you all know, my title with Lark, or with the Table Network, we rebranded and renamed recently. But the guy that founded Lark, his name's Russ Johnson. He lives here in Fort Myers, which is where we are with our camper. Russ wrote a book called Reclaim, and Reclaim is a really beautiful, simple little resource that helps people walk through what is the gospel, and therefore what is the church, and how can we pass on this gospel. We step in to help provide them with connections with other people, resources for learning and thinking and processing about all of that, as well as just encouragement. Encouragement is not common, and encouragement is something we bring and we provide to people who are trying to reimagine the gospel, trying to even learn it for the first time. So Russ has a friend down here in Fort Myers that I got introduced to. And so we've been spending time together, hanging out a little bit, just co-working even at different times. But we had lunch the other day, and he was sharing his story with me, and I just kept asking more and more questions, like, well, what happened then? And what happened back there? And what about that church? And what about this story? And I got to hear a very long, deep version of his story. And I have to share this with you because it really struck me hard. I think it hit him hard. And I think it will hit you and it really encourage you in a meaningful way. So while he was finishing his story, my empathy levels just started to go in overdrive. I started to really feel the pain that he was talking about. Part of his story is a very negative, a repetitively negative experience of churches, and church leaders especially. So he ended up sharing this whole story with me and the hurts and the pains that came along with it. This was really hard for me to hear. But as soon as he finished, we shifted, and initially I was trying to figure out, like, where do I go next? Like, I definitely don't want to give him advice. I definitely don't want to try to challenge or change anything. I felt so compelled to just sit there and encourage him. I felt like there was something he hadn't heard. And so I dove in directly to just sharing good news and encouragement about who he was. And one of the things that I told him, and it seemed like something that no pastors had ever told him before, was that I told him, we'll call him Joe for now. I said, Joe, you are a demonstration of God's providence to every person that you meet. And what I mean by that is God shows his love to people in you and through you, regardless of who you think you are based on what you have and have not done. God just does show himself to other people through you. And that's really cool and really beautiful and really powerful. You don't have to change yourself to become something in order for God to show his love through you. He can just do it. He's that good. His love is that powerful. As I was saying that, we both started weeping. We both started kind of just experiencing the gravity of such a powerful truth of the gospel. We both just sat and reveled in it and celebrated it even. He told me toward the end of our time in our conversation together, he said, I have never seen a pastor cry before. And I can't tell you how sad that makes me and disappointed and just bummed for him, you know. I think one of the primary things a pastor does is feel the pain of people around him and her. And so with me, I mean, if you know me as a pastor at all, you know that I cry a lot. I just can feel, if you start crying, I'm probably going to start crying. And if I start encouraging you, I'm probably going to start crying because there's an overwhelm that happens and what feels to be like the Spirit of God moving between us and through me, in order to encourage you with what God believes is true about you. And when I say things like that to people, it often just feels so powerful. And what I mean is not that I'm doing something exceptional or crazy, or even that I'm doing anything. It feels like the power of God is doing something for both of us that grows our faith, that wakes us up to the reality. that's what I wanted to share with you. That happened, and I'm still in conversation with Joe, as we'll call him, and I'm really excited to see where the gospel continues to take root in his life. God's love is extravagant. God's love is endless, and we got to get that message out. And so Joe is someone who I'm helping to learn that message, to believe that message, so that they can share that message on with others. That's what you're investing in if you're investing in us. That's the work that I'm doing and that you are empowering and enabling me to do. So thank you so much for doing that, and I hope this story encourages you. More to come. Talk to you soon.